Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Drama at the Texas Major before it has even begun. Censor ranking Scump as 7th on his all-time list last night to some quite interesting responses. But also Ben J. Nassim doing a venue tour on his stream last night, leaking the Scump watch party setup, and Scump and Methods not particularly happy with Ben for doing this last night. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. Everyone arriving out there of course now in Texas for the event. Most of these guys, well at least the players, live local to Texas anyway. I think Clayser said he's got a 30-minute drive to the venue, so guess that could be good or bad, because I know that Octane was saying that having the hotel vibes before the event are what really gets you over the line in terms of chemistry. It's Puckett though that's actually going to a wedding I believe this weekend, so he's not going to be hosting the event. It's going to be Reflections, I believe, from the Gears of War side stepping in, so hopefully he does a great job and can keep up. I mean, Puckett's a hard act to follow, let's be honest here. Believe Puckett will be back after the event, but yeah, kind of a shame not to have Puckett, but I'm sure Reflections will do a fantastic job in his place for this weekend. Now, we've got to discuss Censor, right? Because this guy's out of control. Now, look, it's very obvious what Doug does and, like, the game that he is trying to play here, but nonetheless, we've got to discuss it because there was quite some reactions. So, Doug came out with his top 5 COD players of all time list, the definitive list, last night, and he goes for Crimsix, he goes for Karma, then Clayster, Simp, and aBeZy, which is quite the list, of course. There's one real notable omission here because, of course, Scump is top 2, top 3 at absolute minimum, and of course Formal is definitely above Simp and aBeZy in my book, but you know, Doug has different opinions on many of these type of things, and as Attach says, no Scump is crazy. The King, face of the game, individually one of the best slayers ever, number 7, so you know, he gives him a lot of gas and then he reckons he's number 7. I guess he's got Formal ahead of Scump here all time. We'll see why he thinks he has that in a second, and obviously he gets ratioed hard by Brad and Dashy in the replies as he says, nah, this is crazy. Just you know, think, okay, what is going through Doug's head right now? And the funny thing to me is about this really is that if you look back to 2021, Doug did his top 10 players at the time, and this was his top 10 list, which isn't actually, I mean, compared to his current list, this isn't, okay, it's still terrible, don't get me wrong, because at the time, like, this is what I understand about Doug, right? Karma has retired in 2020, and he was retired in 2021, so Karma has done nothing to move up the list over the last year and a half, but yet Karma here was 5th on his list, behind even Simp, Scump, and Clay, and then on his present day list, Karma's now magically up to 2nd, so I don't really understand what Doug St. Martin's brain even is, and he had Simp 3rd here, just behind Scump, which I think at the time, that was Doug's, like, attention-seeking strategy, was to put Simp 3rd, and now putting Scump 7th, I guess, is his new strategy, and I'm guessing he's got Formal 6th still, based on what this list was before. The rest of this list wasn't terrible, but it still doesn't have JCap, so, you know, to me, that's a bit of an L, but regardless, like, okay, Doug does what he does. I don't really want to discuss it in too much more detail, and he does go into detail and says, wherever Scump falls on the list, you can't argue that Crim is the greatest of all time, so some good impression farming from Doug last night, it's got to be said, so congratulations. He succeeded, I suppose, in his mission on that front. Now, Dashy, of course, was commenting on Doug St. Martin's phenomenal top 10 or top 5 players of all time list, and this, I believe, in the corner of the venue, they've got a basketball hoop, you know, where people, I suppose, can go up and just, well, shoot some hoops, I guess, and Dashy was on this last night, and we'll see Ghosty on it in a second. Now, the other thing that a couple of guys were pointing out to me this morning was that Dashy was spotted at the Hex Quarters at about 2 or 3 in the morning Texas time, showing Demi around the Hex Quarters and I guess making her familiar with the setup. So I don't really, I mean, people were, it's funny for multiple reasons, right? But I know people were saying they're like, look, Dashy, you've got a match today against Boston, a big one in just a few hours time, realistically, and he's up at like 2 a.m. not getting the beauty sleep that maybe he needs. I don't know. That was just, you know, some commentary that I thought was quite entertaining this weekend, or maybe there's going to be some sort of buff or another for Dashy this weekend as a result. Now, the other piece of OpTic Drama is around this man, Bald J. Nassim. Clean Razim, well, he's not so clean anymore because their hair started to grow back now. So last night, Ben decided to do a venue tour, which is a cool idea, looking around whatever's going on, and, you know, this was a brief part of it last night. Now, this VOD, unfortunately, as of me waking up this morning, has been deleted, as have all the clips. I believe as a result of the backlash here from Scump and Methods against, you know, what Ben did in this particular setup. So he goes around, shows the venue and all this stuff, and he shows the Scump watch party setup, what they're planning to do, like, you know, and look, at the end of the day, it's a watch party setup. There's a couple of couches, there's, I think, some chairs, and there's a screen, and, like, you know, it's a watch party setup where there's nothing magical, I think, going on here. But, you know, there were some questions. Is Ben salty that the flank setup isn't as good or whatever, right? Like, it's the OpTic Major. I'm sure it's probably going to be OpTic's watch party that's going to have the better setup than whatever the flank have got going on, but, you know, hopefully it's still pretty good, all things considered. So there was some discussion on this, right, right, and unfortunately, as I say, all the images and the clips of this have been deleted by Ben, I suppose as a result of what Scum and Methods are about to say. I'll share the clip of that in a second. But, you know, based on what people said as seeing this at the time, it was similar to what they used for the Hitch off-season event, 2 couches with a TV and a Jumbotron, which I guess is like a big TV overhead thing, on top of them with the benches on the side for fans. So, you know, pretty cool, I guess. They've got like fan spaces around where the watch party is. His setup at the venue for watch parties, Ben showed it on stream for like 10 seconds. It's a stage with 4 screens above it and seats around the side of it. So, okay, it's nothing special, I imagine. This was a screenshot I just took from the off-season when they had Hitch and Blake here, and this is basically what they were going for there, which I guess they're going to be doing something a little bit similar. I don't exactly think it's a massive deal, to be honest, but yeah, Scump and Methods weren't so happy because I guess this was like their big reveal. They wanted to show the watch party setup and everything first, and the fact that Ben kind of leaked it on stream made them a bit frustrated, and yeah, some of the words from Ziddy especially are rather spicy.
Oh, baby.
GG, I had one. Wait, Ben Deceives was leaking our watch party setup, dude?
Yeah, that's just odd.
Did he?
That is just...
What a f***ing moron. Good shit, Ben. Moron.
Also, they had Ghosty here, like, shooting some hoops as well. I wonder in the background here, like, on the right-hand side. Damn, this guy actually does not miss. Fair play. But on the right-hand side, like, I don't know, in the background here, you can maybe see what might be part of it. I'm not exactly sure where it is or whether Ben showed a different part of the venue. But, yeah, what do you guys think? Is there anything to this, right? I feel like this is weird from both angles in a way. Okay, maybe Ben shouldn't have leaked it on stream, but at the same time, it's like, you know, who really cares? We're going to get to see this in a few hours anyway. Does it really matter if Ben showed it early, given the fact that the entire rest of the venue has already been shown by OpTic on their social media pretty much? So what's your guys' perspective, right? So people seem to be split on this, whether OpTic are, you know, fair enough to say, oh, Ben was weird for this or whatever, or whether Ben's like salty for some reason that the fact setup isn't as good, which I really don't buy that argument, or whether OpTic should just be like, okay, who really cares at the end of the day? I don't know what you guys think about it in the comments below, but I thought it was a little bit of a strange, I wasn't expecting this to be the premium beef of the day going into the major, let's be honest, but you know, Call of Duty always delivers something different. Also wanted to mention this from Standy though. Can someone hook me up with spectator passes for the event? I'm nothing these days, not even a substitute. Now, I don't exactly know what he means by this, because, okay, Standy, I guess, is attending the event because he's Toronto's substitute. We thought he was their substitute, and of course, he was dropped from the team recently, put on the bench of the team, and, you know, that's the understanding we personally have. But apparently, Standy's like, he's not their sub anymore. But if he's not their sub, who is their sub? They've got to have someone as a sub. I guess they could bring, like, Joe Pinnington, right, one of their coaches in as their substitute, but I don't really understand that idea. So have they actually released Standy? Is he now an unrestricted free agent, or is he just saying this because he is actually technically a substitute, but the team doesn't want to get him a pass properly? But I thought if you're a sub, you should at least get a pass to the event. This tweet was then deleted because it's Standy. So yeah, I don't really understand it, right? What do you guys think about this? Is Standy been released or something as a sub for the team, or is there something else going on here that we don't really understand? But it's a bit unclear to me. And also, I did mention the other day that Standy has Rokkr in his well, Twitter AVI, right? He's got the Rokkr when he used to be on Minnesota Rokkr. So it's like, okay, if he was still on Toronto and he still wanted to return to Toronto, which I don't really necessarily know if he does based on what he's been saying on stream over the last few days, you'd have thought he would at least keep him in Toronto in his Twitter type stuff. But apparently that's not really the case anymore. So we'll see. Because he still has it in his bio here, right? He still says plays for Toronto. So I don't know. I guess intrigued your thoughts in the comments below on that one. Also this one, Prolute, right? Because, you know, Formal, of course, kind of called out Prolute to make him step up or whatever and take his gameplay to the next level. And TJ yesterday was getting called out for the weak mentality, and maybe Prolute's coming different since Formal has, you know, tweeted him in the replies. It's in your control, little Terry. So, you know, maybe supporting Vegas to make a run, which will begin tomorrow when they play the loser of the Seattle versus Los Angeles Guerrillas game today. This, honestly, I quite like the Boston team. I'd quite like them to make a decent run here. But this, like, I might have to be an official Boston hater after this one. Nero's come out with his analysis on what he eats as his pre-game meal. Like, honestly, man, some of these pros, you cannot make this stuff up. So 3 bags of Skittles. This guy is speed-running diabetes, and a mix of orange juice and milk. And this, I think we got the clarification. This is not a glass of orange juice and a glass of milk. This is orange juice and milk mixed together in the same glass. He bangs that down with 3 bags of Skittles. Like, I mean, fair play. There's no wonder this kid is cracked, but Jesus, man, we got to sort these diets out. These processed sugars are surely not a recipe for long-term success. I thought that was kind of mind-blowing. And just before we discuss the matches of today, also also wanted to look at the odds. Different sites have different odds on this, but I thought it was quite interesting just to look who is considered the favourites for this event. So FaZe are the favourites, then Toronto, according to this bookie, then Surge, then Thieves. I know that some bookies were giving 5-1, 6-1 for Thieves, which seems quite, you know, maybe quite generous. I guess they play FaZe in the first rounds, then OpTic, then New York, and then you get Boston, probably the only real dark horse candidate, I would say, of this event, and then Guerrillas, who are not really going to do much, I don't imagine. They play Surge first round, and then the 4 teams and losers. So thought it was pretty interesting to look at, and these are the 4 games of today. Different, well, graphic than the CDL usually come out with, but these are the 4 games in the order that they come around. So we start off at 1:30 Eastern with Seattle versus Los Angeles Guerrillas. We're going to see how Seattle can convert their great performance online to LAN. I think they're going to be able to do it quite well. I feel like this is the Seattle. I think they've got a great chance to really do some serious damage in this tournament. I'm going to take them to win the series without too much difficulty. FaZe Thieves, though, is really interesting, honestly. Thieves are going to be better in the hardpoint. FaZe are maybe marginally better in the control and certainly in the search and destroy. Tough to say. I mean, a FaZe 3-2 wouldn't be surprising. A Thieves 3-1 might not even be that surprising. But I feel like I'll take FaZe in 5 and then I'll have Thieves making a crazy losers bracket run like they did before. I feel like that's the most likely outcome here, but it certainly could go the other way. Then Boston OpTic. I think this is definitely an upset potential series. Boston are a team that can make a deep run. They've got an incredibly high ceiling, but OpTic in front of the home crowd, I feel like they should just have enough for Boston here. I'm going to take a 3-2 though. I feel like it's going to be competitive. And then Toronto versus New York Subliners. Banger series to close out the day. Again, really tough to call this one. I want to take Toronto. I think I'm just about leaning their way. I haven't been, you know, New York have been good, but I wasn't so impressed with the final series they played at the weekends. So I'm just going to take Toronto here. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if this online LAN thing has too much weight today. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
Does it fit?
Yeah, it fits.
Hey, excuse me, we got a call of an assassin here from Alaska. Need to take care of it.
It was good.
Will you take a picture for me?
Yeah, I got you.
Don't worry, nobody can get mad at you. Tell them off.
That's so cool. Holy.
Yeah, one sec.
I'm like, yo, Zach's like, yo, bro, what's he done? Nah, bro. Bro, he pulls up. I'm thinking, like, wait a minute. Okay, I was like, he's gonna say something. He's like, yo, you said assassin. I'm still thinking, whoa, there's an assassin in Texas right now. I was like, yeah, we just got in. Yeah.